Good morning, everyone. I guess it's afternoon now. In Spec Ed Specialist course, it's Matt Arnold coming to you again regarding Module 9, specifically looking at the Growing Success document and the eModule, Performance Standards, the Achievement Chart. So I have summarized my learning from the eModule, and I've attempted with this video here to just demonstrate how that is, or how I apply that to my specific class. So the first piece that I'd like to talk about is the idea of concepts and specifically content standards, knowledge and skills. So specifically referencing knowledge and skills in a grade 10 history course, and the idea that it's important to not throw too many concepts and too much knowledge at students at once. So I can give you an idea of co-creating success criteria with students and taking it from a place of using the achievement chart as a framework and not an assessment tool, because of course frameworks aren't specific enough. So what we did in my grade 10 history course is we built our own framework and we built our own achievement chart using a checklist technique. And also you can see here that it is a balanced manner. So we didn't necessarily have all the criteria on one test. And we looked at a specific number of what are called historical thinking concepts, which is what the grade 10 history curriculum is based around, and decided how each of those should be assessed. The important thing about this as well is using the criteria with the students and having them empower themselves as learners, and us as a community of learners by understanding what the different criteria actually mean. Because when I asked all the students, do you understand what your rubrics mean in your class, very few of them were able to put their hands up and tell me what they were, or tell me why or how they achieved a mark on a test before or an assessment before. So using this, what we were able to do is we were able to build on concepts and build on tools that we had used, learning tools and assessments, and create a test together. So the test, instead of looking like a number of multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank, became a series of planners that we had been using in the class that could assess their understanding and where they could apply their understanding more effectively. You can see here we have what looks like a number of different handouts. So for this, the students then were able to apply really any event from the unit that they had the most understanding about. They could even use the same event for every single example here, but they wouldn't achieve a level 4 on their knowledge because they only used one event instead of a number of events. So we had a different scale of that understanding and a different scale of that knowledge that we were able to co-create with students. They could still achieve, say, level 3, which is the provincial average for using one event for the entire test, but they wouldn't necessarily receive a higher level of knowledge mark than a person who, say, used a different event for the demonstration of each concept. Okay. Other examples of building on knowledge together and co-creating success criteria would be using something like Lucidchart. And what you see before you now is from a learning strategies class where the class and I were able to go through just the knowledge base and then look at how they could demonstrate their knowledge and how they could connect that knowledge of a concept to strategies and tools that we had seen and used in the class. And so we used a mind mapping system and a mind mapping program called Lucidchart, which we all have access to through our Google Apps account. Good. And then, if we were looking, say, at the concept of, and the criteria, of communication, we could use something like Google Classroom to co-create success criteria for the demonstration of knowledge, understanding, application, and specifically in this case we looked at author's purpose, and we looked at how to effectively, or how to create a project that effectively communicates your understanding and your knowledge and your application to an audience. And so we used a question on Google Classroom to do that, and specifically you can see here that this particular student came up with the fact that from 2 of the slideshows that we looked at, this student decided that one would be a level 4 and the other one would not. And the reason is that we had co-created success criteria, her reasoning being that it has a limited amount of text, which is important for the purpose of a slideshow because you don't want to give too much text, and you have the information had clear steps. So what it was both entertaining and informative, and the reason we knew that is because we had done a lesson and reinforced this lesson with each summative about author's purpose. Alright, so that would be the norm referenced assessment piece. And finally, going with the idea of most recent and most consistent is that if a student hands a piece of work in, the understanding in my class is that the student can always improve upon that using the feedback loop and the assessment and feedback loop that is created as a class and that was clearly established in Unit 1 and that we keep using throughout the course. So that is keeping an open line of communication, looking at the concepts, checking feedback on Google Docs, looking at grades within Google Classroom, and so on. Alright, thanks very much again for listening, and hopefully you are all well, and I will talk to you all soon.